Hi, I'm Kat, and today I'm showing you how to make this dresser with opening and closing drawers and a matching mirror. And the dresser has a granite top that I've made from resin and polymer clay. If you guys like this video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, or even comment. I'm using 17 popsicle sticks to start with. Now these are the jumbo size, and I went on ahead and divided these into one group of 4 and 5 groups of 2. Then I took the remaining 3 popsicle sticks and split them in half vertically. Glue together the 4 pieces and glue together all 5 sets of 2. Then take the half sticks that you cut up and glue those to each of the 5 sets of 2. So now on 5 sets of 2, they're actually 2.5. Now cut the 4 popsicle stick bundle into a length of 5 inches and cut 2 of the 2.5 popsicle stick bundles into a 5-inch length too, and glue those together. Allow that to dry, and in the meantime, you could take the remaining 2.5 popsicle stick length bundles and cut those into 3-inch pieces. Glue those in place on the inside of the counter. One is a middle partition and one on either side. Then take 4 additional popsicle sticks and cut those to fit on either side of the partition. That way you should have 8 pieces that will act as your drawer faces. Now, these are still a little bit too wide for the project that I'm working on, so I'm going to trim off about 1/8 of an inch vertically across the top of each one. And for the inside of the drawers, I'm using this postcard that I got in the mail and just bending it to fit into a little rectangle to be the sides and back of the drawer. Glue that in place and clip it. Now I won't be using these drawers very much to open and close, so if you are, I highly suggest using a popsicle stick for this step because you'll want it to be sturdy. And then I did the same thing with the poster board at the bottom, except I doubled it up. Then I painted the inside of the drawers brown, and that way they match. Now I'm using wood filler for this, especially along the top and the sides, because I am going to pour wet resin right across the top, and I need to waterproof this as much as possible. So I'm going to wood fill the top and make sure that all the cracks in the back and in between the popsicle sticks are covered. And do the same thing on the sides. Then go on ahead and file off the excess. On the inside, I'm going to put some small partitions in made out of skinny sticks. And this is just going to be drawer support for the drawers when I put them back in. That way each of the drawers will sit on their set of skinny sticks and not flop against the other one. I'm also using these skinny square dowels that I purchased at Michael's, and these are balsa wood, and I'm cutting these to fit the top and the bottom of the dresser. Cut the pieces out and glue them all together so that you have 2 rectangles. And then on one rectangle, I'm cutting 1/3 of an inch additional pieces for legs and gluing those in place. Leave the other one plain with no legs. Allow those to dry, and then I'm using some more of my silver metallic paint. And this is the Tester's model paint in silver, and I'm using a Q-tip just to dab it on. I want it to have a hammered metal finish instead of a smooth metal finish. Now I'm also using some brown paint to go over this. This is not the regular brown paint that I would normally use to paint with. This is a indoor paint, so it's a gloss, and I'm just using this because I need to kind of waterproof this cabinet as much as possible for the resin. Now I'm going back over it with the regular brown that I would use. And then after that's dry, I go over it with black that's been watered down to add streaks. And then finally, a heavy, heavy coat of Mod Podge. Once the Mod Podge is dry, I use another heavy coat of glue and glue the top frame onto the wooden piece. And then I use a small cup of resin and mix it up. Then I added in a little bit of dark brown, beige, and yellow paint and mix it again, and that way it's about the color of peanut butter. Once that's thoroughly mixed, just pour it directly over the top of your piece. And because you went through all the trouble for waterproofing it, nothing should be spilling or oozing out of the sides. Then I'm using some glitter in a white, iridescent yellow, orange, and iridescent white. If each color of glitter will do fine. And just mix that up on some paper and sprinkle it on top. Then I use all the metallic gold paints that I had in golds and bronze and browns and whites, and use a toothpick for each color to dab on random dots of every color. It's going to spread out on its own, and then of course I use the toothpick to help it out by just swirling it into the resin. Then I use some brown paint and feather that out as well. Don't go through too much trouble for this, it's going to get covered. Allow all of that to dry and cure, and then you can pour a fresh layer of resin down and then cut up pieces of dark brown, beige, gray, and black polymer clay. Cut them, bake them, and then break them up with your fingers. I put mine in a little cup and use the back of my knife to crush them. Once you have a fine little dust, you can sprinkle these directly on top of the second layer of wet resin. If you'd like, you can also add a little bit more glitter and then swirl it in. Now, take 4 toothpicks and paint them in the same silver that you've already used. And once dry, you can cut off the ends and cut those into 8 equal lengths. Add a little bit of glue onto the front of each drawer. And add the piece of toothpick as a handle. Make sure it's centered. I'm using 4 coffee stir sticks for this next part. I'm also using the mirror that I purchased at Michael's. And I'm going to cut each coffee stir stick to be just a little above the sides of the mirror. And I'm using the emitter box to do this, but this is not necessary at all. So if you don't have one, just cut it straight and you'll be fine. So then I took a bit of embroidery floss, and you can use any color, but I'm using gray because it's closest to the silver paint. And I cut mine into 3 12-inch lengths. And then I divided each of those links in half so that I had 6 12-inch links. And then I added a little bit of glue onto the front and a little bit of glue onto the back and stuck the ends of each piece of embroidery floss into the glue and just kept going all the way around. You don't have to cover the entire mirror. As you can see, there's quite a bit of wood being exposed here. And it's all going to get covered with the silver paint anyway. Now, the top of my granite is cured. So I'm going to go on ahead and add a little bit of varnish to the sides, the back, and the front of the dresser. And that's it. You're done. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.